Hi, everybody. Welcome to MexElects and our weekly roundup of news and reviews. We've got three things we want to talk to you quickly about today. The first is from kind of the theater of the political absurd, the acquittal of ex-Chihuahua Governor César Duarte. Tell us about that, Kurt.
Yeah, so this is one of these classic cases that just drives the Mexican public absolutely insane. César Duarte is one of the most flagrant examples of a long list of corrupt PRI governors. He was accused of diverting billions of pesos of federal funds to the state of Chihuahua into PRI campaigns in 2016, and also to his own personal enrichment. The state of Chihuahua, under the new governor, Javier Corral, has confiscated some 21 properties of his. We're talking about 40,000 hectares of properties. We're talking about like luxury ranches with exotic animals like wild boars, like llamas, like exotic animals imported from New Zealand. You can't make this shit up. He even had on his ranch cattle from the federal agricultural program that was supposed to be distributed to people. This is one of the most flagrant cases of impunity. César Duarte is on the lam in the United States. He had 11 charges against him, and just a couple days ago, the federal prosecutor's office decided to drop the charges. No problem. I mean, so when you think about this kind of theater of the absurd, as you mentioned, and you had Javier Duarte, who was on the lam in Guatemala. You had Thomas Yarrington, the ex-governor of Tamaulipas, who was found with multiple identities in Italia. Yeah. Roberto Borge, the former governor of Quintana Roo, who was found in Panama. Right. It's just, you can't help but escape the conclusion that the PRI is not really a political party at all. It's a criminal organization that also happens to be in government.
Right. Okay. So moving from farce to tragedy, you could say, the last two items. The first one is this decision by the Supreme Court to basically allow for warrantless searches and arrests, presumably. Tell us about that quickly.
Now, any Mexican will tell you that the police conduct warrantless searches and arrests all the time. But what's important with the Supreme Court ruling is that it just tips the judicial balance that much more towards the state when it comes to lawsuits and cases like that. What the Supreme Court basically said is that the police now can search your person and your car if they have kind of this vague, reasonable doubt that you might have done something. The case had been brought by the National Human Rights Commission, who'd filed suit, and the Supreme Court said, no, these kind of searches are fine. And they came and rushed out and said, well, this doesn't mean that they can conduct arbitrary random searches. There has to be some kind of probable cause, but in practice we know that that's most likely not going to happen. And it's just kind of one more tipping on the scale towards the authoritarian government and against civil rights in this country.
Yeah, okay. And the third issue is just yesterday, coincidentally, a couple of things related to the case of the 43 missing students at Ayotzinapa, a famous case. They disappeared in September 2014. There have been numerous reports, but this one is pretty damning. It's called Double Injustice, and it's published by the United Nations High Commission on Human Rights. And what they disclose in the report is 34 documented cases of the use of torture, arbitrary detention, things of this nature to extract confessions from those ostensibly responsible for the disappearance of the 43. Anyone knows with any knowledge of these kinds of confessions extracted through torture, they are utterly useless in an open court, and no doubt will be rejected. So the title Double Injustice is, of course, referring to the primary injustice of the disappearance of the 43, and now the fact that much of the evidence is going to be completely useless in a court of law to bring the perpetrators of this terrible crime to justice. And coincidentally, opening yesterday in Mexico City, a film on Ayotzinapa called Paso de la Tortuga, whose producer is Guillermo del Toro, very well known, of course, for recently winning multiple Academy Awards for his film Shape of Water. So just that alone should give this a very high profile and bring
Absolutely.
back into the campaign the whole tragedy and farce, really, of the disappearance of the 43 and the injustice that still prevails.
And if you take just these two cases alone this week, César Duarte getting off, Ayotzinapa back in the news, you can really understand why corruption, this issue of corruption, has kind of sucked up all the oxygen in the room of most all of the other issues in the campaign so far.
Exactly.
You know, we can criticize AMLO for leaving some other issues aside or not filling them out as much, but boy, God, you can really understand why corruption is kind of just like right there in front of everybody's faces the whole time.
Yeah.
And impunity.
Yeah.